everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to Random Acts of Crafting. It's been a couple of days since I've been with you. Actually, I did upload a video yesterday, but I'd actually done that one a couple days ago. So what I want to do today is I want to do a card that's going to look like a front door with a wreath hanging on it. So to get started, I want to go ahead and decide what color cardstock I want to use, and I'm thinking that I want to go with something kind of neutral. So let's do a black card base, because I think I don't know though, the brown door needs to be on something that's going to pop and look really pretty. So I think I'm going to do a red. I think the red with the brown door and the green wreath, I think it will be really pretty. So we'll try it, and if we don't like it, before we glue everything down, we will try a different color. That's usually the way I do my cards. As I'm going, I will just kind of cut all my pieces and put everything together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to cut down a card base that would be a 5x7 card. So we need to cut this down to 10 by 7. So we're going to go 10 inches this way, and we're just going to cut a small strip off on that side, and then we are going to go here and cut it to 7. And I always like to start with the base of my card, because then that lets me kind of build from there. This is going to be a portrait opening card, so we're going to score it at 5 on the 10 inch side. I hope everybody's been doing really good. We've had some nice warm weather for the last couple of days, and it has been nice because we got a really cool snap. And I know it's time for it to get cooler, but living in the South, we don't always have the colder weather so quickly. So anyway, it was nice to have the warm up. Okay, we are going to score this at 5. Just like that. And then we're going to fold it. And I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to varnish this down really, really well. And there is our card base. So the next thing I want to do is I've got some green paper out here. Well, I'll tell you what, let's build the door first. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. So I think for the door, I want it to be, I'm trying to decide if I want this brown butter or if I want to go with this craft. I think I want to go with the craft. I think that's going to look prettier on the red. And this will also show up better when we distress our edges. So I want to cut my door, the bases of the door first. And my dimensions for my door are going to be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So let's go ahead and cut our door first. So I'm going to do 4 3/4 this way. So that's going to be right there. And then we're going to cut this to 6 3/4. Or 3/4. I know sometimes I kind of confuse some of you when I say quarter, but a quarter is a fourth. Because if you think of a dollar, a quarter of a dollar is 25 cents, which is a quarter. So when I say 3/4, that's 3/4. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to lay this on here. And then, like I said, I'm not going to put anything together until I get all my pieces cut, because we're going to do a little bit of distress inking that's going to give the card, the door, as we build it, a very pretty sort of a background, and it's going to give it dimension by using the ink distressing. So now I want to cut 4 pieces that are 1.5 inches. So let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, I think that will work. let's see, 1.5. 1.5, so we're going to put it right there, and I'm just going to hold that piece really close, sink my blade, and slice it. And this is giving me my width. Now I need 4 of them that are 2 inches, so we're not going to get them all out of this piece, but we'll get a couple. So there's 1, and there's 2. Oops. It's really important when you put this cardstock up to hold it tight and sink your blade up in the middle, and that way it won't twist on you like it did me. Okay, that's 2 of our pieces. We need 2 more. So I'm going to cut another piece off of here that's 1.5. And then we're going to get 2 more pieces that's 2 inches. And 1 more at 2. Oops, did you see that move? It moved on me, so that is not the correct measurement. That is, and I had just a sliver that it was off, just that tiny little bit, but that can throw your card off quite a bit. Okay, so that gives us the 4 panels that we're going to need for the front of the door, and we're going to need 4 more panels that's 1 inch by 1 3/4. So let's cut this down now to 1 inch. And again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold it right there, put my blade down, sink it, and cut it. Now this is 1 inch by 1 3/4. Okay, so that's 1. And 2. And we're going to need another little piece that is 1 inch. Maybe we can do it like this. 1 inch by 1 3/4. And I know that cutting all these small pieces can be a little tedious, but I guarantee you that it will be so worth it when we get this completely done, because you're going to see how lovely this card will turn out and how building the door is so much fun. So these are all of our panels for our door. We've got our 4 little ones and our 4 big ones. 2 will go at the top and 2 at the bottom. Now we're going to need a bar that's going to go across the middle of the door that's like the panel. And for that piece, we need it to be 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. So let's go this way first and get our piece that's 4 3/4. And then we need it to be 1 1/4. So it's just going to be a thin panel that's going to live right across the middle, and we're actually going to put a mail slot there, because of course we cannot have a Christmas door without a Christmas card hanging out of it. So that's going to live in the middle. These are going to live on each side. Let me bring this over so you can see as I'm building it. But what's really going to make the difference is going to be actually distressing the edges of these. And we're going to get some vintage photo distress ink, and that's going to really make this pop. All the edges are going to look so pretty. So that's going to live there, and that here. And the one thing you want to make sure of is when you're putting the panels down, you want to make sure that they're even to the sides and you have the same amount of room on your left as you do the right. And then this piece is going to go here and here, and then your little pieces are going to live right in the middle of those to give your door that added little dimensional look, just like that. Now, I cannot take credit for this card because I saw this on Pinterest and I thought, and it reminded me so much of the door that I did on my fall album, the one that I showed y'all a while back. So this is the way our card's going to look. We are going to put a doorknob here, and these are going to be distressed, and I might even move these in just a little bit more like that. Yeah, I think that's going to look really good. But before we do anything, let's move these pieces off, and I am going to get my Vintage Photo ink. And my vintage Photo is not a distress ink. It is just a regular distress ink. It's not an oxide. And there we go. And let me find my little tool that we're going to do this with. And I do have one of my little daubers that's inked up with the Vintage Photo, so I'm just going to attach it to my little tool. And you can see it left a, can you see that? It left a blob of ink right there. So I'm going to lay it like that, and before I put my hands in that and get it on places that I do not want it, I am going to grab a wipe and just wipe this off. And I also need a wipe for my fingers because I will definitely get ink on my fingers. So we'll just lay this right here so we'll have it. Alright, so we're going to start off first by distressing the edges of the door. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to move my other panels up here to the top and my little crossbar. And let's go ahead and work the edges of this card just like this. And you don't want to do it a lot. You just want just enough to make it look dimensional. And you'll be surprised how just putting a little ink on the edges of your card will make the world of difference. And it gives so much dimension without having to do anything except ink the edges. So this is just a great tool for whatever you're making, whatever card you're making. It can just really just take your card up another level. So just remember that. If you've got ink pads, these little tools like this, I think you can get 2 of the handles and several of the sponges for a little bit of nothing. I mean, they're not that expensive. And if you don't have this, you could take a paper towel and use the end of it in your finger and do the same thing. Or if you have a kitchen sponge, cut off a little piece of it. Not the Brillo or the scrubby side, but just the soft side, and you could do that with that as well. So there's always ways of getting around not having the supplies that you feel like you need. So now I'm going to go ahead and do these little pieces, and the larger pieces I'm going to glue them straight down. But I am going to place them first before I actually decide to glue them down. But these are not going to be on dimensions. These pieces right here will go flat to the card, just like that. And you can see already how that is looking like door panels. If you haven't had a chance to check out my store recently, I just dropped some new items in my store. So if you want to take a peek at some of the new items that I have in for sale, go over and check it out. It's at randomactsofcrafting.com, and I will always have a link in the description of this video to my store, so you can go over and look and see if you see anything you like. Your purchases are always appreciated, and I will do my best to get those shipped out next day. It's not always the case because it depends on what day that the delivery comes in, or the order comes in, and whether or not my local post office is open. So, and sometimes if the package is big, I have to make sure that I'm there when they're open, and that can sometimes be a little tricky. I'm still dealing with my foot and my leg, but I will say I am a lot better than I was. I do appreciate all of your thoughts and prayers. It means so much to me to have my crafty friends praying for me that care about me, and thank you so much. It was so appreciated, and I want to thank you for that. And also, if you have not signed up for our Facebook group, go to Facebook and put in the search bar Random Acts of Crafting by Kathy Champion, and go over and sign up. All you have to do is request to join, and me or my other administrator will see the request when they come in, and we will approve you. And then you can start sharing all of your beautiful creations with us and inspire us. We can all inspire each other. So do that if you haven't. Go over and just be a part of us as a whole. I love to see what y'all are doing. I'm so inspired by some of the creations that you all make. So it's always such a blessing to see. And anytime that you make something that I've made, nothing thrills me any more than to see that I've inspired you to craft. So share your ideas and your craftiness over on my channel there. Not my channel, but my Facebook group. It's really our Facebook group because it takes all of us to make a group. So thank you so much. Alright, we've gotten all of our pieces are inked up. So let me wipe my fingers to make sure I did not transfer ink places I don't want it. And one of the places I usually do that is getting this little piece off. So I am going to tear that off and very gently lay it over in my drawer where I keep them. Actually, I hook them down on little Velcro dots. The Velcro holds those little things on in place and keeps them. And then I have one like for each color. So whether it's a blue family, I have one for all my blues and my browns and, you know, orange, red, yellow, that sort of thing. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I want to start building my door. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start gluing these down, but I want to make sure that I'm about a half an inch down, a half an inch in. So I'm going to take my trusty little ruler and I'm going to lay it right there at the edge of the card, and that looks like it's right about a half an inch, and I'm going to check it over here. And that's a half an inch, so that piece right there looks really good. So without moving it, I'm going to lift it up on one corner, and I'm going to grab my art glitter glue, and I'm going to take that pen out with one hand. Talk about talent. But anyway, I'm just going to put some glue down underneath that piece, just enough to catch it. Just like that. The reason it's crucial to get this first piece down straight is because this is going to be the guideline for our other pieces as we glue them down. Now I have a little bit of glue ooze, but that's okay. We're just going to clean that off. And I'm going to lift right here. And I think I'm going to need just a tiny bit right there under that corner. And that's going to look really good. Now we're going to take the next panel and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to measure about a half an inch down. Oops. It helps if I get my ruler going in the right direction. So that's about right. But now this one looks like it's out just a little bit more, and it is. It needs to go this way just a little bit. Just like that, and up just a hair, because we want to make sure these are even. And what you might want to do is use this piece and lay it down, because if you got this even across the middle, you can pretty much butt it up to those and see if they are even. And that looks really good. So now I'm going to hold this piece down, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go under and put some glue down. Press that down. Now this is not hard at all to do. This is a very simple process, and if you have a trimmer, even a ruler, and a pencil and a pair of scissors, you can do this. It is easier with a trimmer because I think most of us paper crafters, our first piece of equipment we buy is a trimmer. It's kind of hard to do our paper crafting if we don't have the proper trimmer to do it with. So that one's going to go right there. And see, already it's starting to look like a door. So now the only thing I want to do is I want to check this side right here and make sure I have that 1/2 inch from this piece. Now see, it does need to go over just a hair. And that looks good. That's a 1/2 inch. And let's see if this piece is going to give us room in here for it. And it is. And this piece looks like it needs to go down, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go ahead and get this piece glued down, then we'll worry about that piece. The one thing you want to do when you're building this card or building your door is you want to put your panels down one at a time and then line the next one up accordingly. And use your ruler to make sure that you're getting your 1/2 inch on each side and from the edge of the card, or the edge of the door in this case. Alright, so that one's down. So now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to place this one right here. And this being my last piece, it is crucial to make sure we get this one as close to perfect as we can. And that is a 1/2 inch. And that's a 1/2 inch, so that looks really good, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold it in place and just go up under it and put down some glue. Just like that. Press it. And I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on the top half. Run some glue all up underneath it, making sure we come all the way up to the top edge, and then press that down. Little glue ooze, that's okay. Okay, so now our door is coming along. Now we have these little panels that need to live right in the middle of those first panels. And we've all had doors like this. I think most doors have that dimension. But these we are going to pop up on some dimensionals. And I'm going to pull out a pack. Let's see what I got over here. So I have these right here. So I'm going to use these, and all I want to do is just have a couple of these on each side, or right in the middle. And just like that. And let's pull the backer off of this one. And then this one is going to come down and live right in the middle, and you want to be really careful when you put this down because these little glue dots that I'm using to adhere it with don't give you a lot of wiggle room. I'll tell you what you can do to give yourself a little extra wiggle room. Just put a little dab of glue on top of them, and that will give you just a tiny bit of wiggle room so that when you sit it down, if you don't have it exactly right, you can move it. And there we go. Now see the difference that dimension made on that card? It is so pretty. And it really does start to look like a door, which is exactly what we want it to do since we are going to hang a wreath on it and put a doorknob on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for these other 4, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so we are back, and as you can see, I got our 4 panels, the smaller panels, glued down. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this panel right across the middle, and I also want to pop that up with some foam tape. But before we do that, our doorknob needs to go on this corner right here. So I am going to find a brad. Let me grab a brad and we'll be right back. Alright, I am back, and I found some brads. These are not exactly what I wanted, but these are the only ones I can find right now. So some of them look like buttons, and I really don't want a button for a doorknob. So I'm thinking I'm going to do one like this, and it could be like a key. But I am thinking that this more silver and gold looking one might look better. Or maybe this copper. I really wanted a bigger doorknob than that. Let's see. I wonder how that would look. Would that be too big of a doorknob? I think I'm going to go with this one. What is it? Your first inclination should be the right one. So, going by my first inclination, I'm going to go with that one. And I'm going to just set those out of my way for a few minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mouse pad, like I do a lot of times. And I am going to use a pokey tool. And I am going to decide where I want that doorknob. And I think right about here, right about there, about 1/4 inch in, and about halfway in between. And I'm just pierced a tiny hole. And then I'm just going to ease this in very easily, very carefully. Just like that. And then I am going to put this little brad in there to make it look like the doorknob. And when I use a brad like this, I do not push it out both directions. I usually just push it over in one direction because that's going to hold it. It doesn't need to have to go in two directions. And we are going to put some dimensional tape across this, so it will hold that in place. And then that's going to go right there. And I'm going to get my dimensional tape and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got our tape now on the back of this piece, and all we have to do is release our backer. And I did have to piece this tape because I didn't cut my piece quite as long as I needed it to be. And then I cut another piece that was too long, and then I had to cut that piece in half. So, and that happens, but you know what? Nobody's going to know because nobody's going to see this. So let me move my little mouse pad out of the way. And now what we're going to do is just drop this in just like that. And I'm going to press that down right through the middle. And now we have our cute little door. But what our door needs is it needs a mail slot right here. And we need a Christmas wreath to hang on the front. So I am going to grab the supplies that I need because I want to cut a circle to actually put the wreath on. And I haven't decided what color I want that back piece to be just yet. So I'm going to go and grab some paper, and I'm going to grab my, actually I have my punch here, and this is the punch that I plan on using. And I'm going to use 2 different shades of green to punch out my greenery. And I don't know exactly how much that is going to take. So off camera, I am going to punch out probably about 10 to 12 pieces of each color. And I'm also going to decide what size circle I want. And I'm thinking probably a 2-inch circle, and I'll probably use a circle punch for that because I'm trying not to use my dies if I can help it. So many of y'all have voiced your opinion that you don't have a machine and you don't have dies. Well, this is a 2-inch EK tool punch. And if you don't have a machine and you don't have dies, perhaps you have a punch. And if you don't have this, you can actually find something in your house that is a 2-inch diameter, 1.5, 1 3/4. It doesn't matter as long as it will look good hanging right in between there. So I'm just going to use a piece of the scrap paper that we did the door in, and I'm going to just test and see. And that's my puppy dogs are back there playing with their toy. They always like to be in here in the craft room with me. And we're going to see, and I think that's going to hang perfectly right there. And it's going to make a beautiful, beautiful wreath for our door. So when we get back, I am going to actually use this more than likely. And I'm going to have the greenery going around it so that I think using this color will make it look really good. And we still have this beautiful red card base that we're going to put this on that's going to give it that really beautiful Christmas look. And of course our beautiful green wreath would not be complete without a red bow. So we still have that to do, and then we also have our inside of our card to do. So hang tight and I'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and I have gotten all of my little pieces cut, and I think I did about 12 of each, and I don't know that I'm going to need to use all of these, but whatever I don't use, I'll stick them in a little container or a little baggie or something and save them for next time. But I did discover that I did not need that big circle. We had cut a 2-inch circle, and I went back with my 1 1/2 inch circle, and I actually cut this piece out of the circle that I already had. This one was too big. I wasn't sure, and I didn't know for sure if it would be or not until I got my little pieces of greenery on it. So what we're going to do now is together, and I wanted y'all to be here for this process, I want to go ahead and glue down my my little pieces. And I'm going to start out with the lighter green, and when we go all the way around, then I'm going to go back and put in the darker green, and we're going to see how that looks. Now, I've not done this before, so I'm not sure exactly how this is going to pan out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a little glue around my outer edge, just like this. And we know that art glitter glue dries really fast, so we're going to work as quickly as we can, but I want to put them in evenly all the way around, just like that. So, not rocket science here. We're just going to build this little paper wreath. You know, Christmas isn't complete without hanging a wreath on our door. And I love a pretty Christmas wreath. Now this one might not be exactly what we would put on our door, because I got a feeling this one's going to be mostly greenery, but we don't know yet. We might find something that we can jazz it up with a little bit. And you know, remember that you can always go back and add more of these. So we will definitely make it as full as we want it, just by adding more of the greenery. So that right there gives us the base of our little wreath. So let's go back now, and we're going to put a little bit more glue in between each one of these, and we're going to come in and just stick these down. And I think using the 2 colors of green really does make this wreath look realistic. And don't worry about your glue, because we know this is our art glitter glue. It's going to dry clear, and it's going to look beautiful. I am going to have glue fingers, or sticky fingers, because I am pushing these down into that glue. And you want to try to keep them as even so that you have that even opening in the middle. This will also make our wreath look more realistic. Oops. That piece wanted to stick to my finger more than it wanted to stick to the actual piece. So I'm going to come over here and grab a wet wipe, because I've got sticky fingers and I've got glue on my work surface. So I definitely want to get this off. So I'm just going to clean that up just like that. Now I'm going to decide, do we need anything else? And I think we do. I think I'm going to use all of these, and like I said, I did do 12 of each. So I have 1, 2, I have 4 of each of these left over. So I am going to go back and just every here and there, I'm going to stick one of these in. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just stick them in as you see the need. I am going to use this just to kind of help me get that in there. Trying not to get sticky fingers again. But you know what? It's like cooking. Your hands seem like they do a better job than anything else. So let's just go with it. And again, I'm just using this as a fill-in, just to make our wreath look a little bit more full. And we can also always, if we feel like we need to cut some more of these, we have plenty of that paper. And the color that I used was the Brutus Monroe Cabbage is the lighter green, and Jurrasic is the darker green. And there's our cute little wreath. I think that's gorgeous. Now, if you wanted to make sure that this circle looked perfect, you could always go back with a smaller punch. Let's see. This is 1.5. Let's see. I think I got a 1 inch. Yeah. You could always go back with a 1 inch punch. I've gotten way too many punches out here trying to find the right one. You could definitely do a 1 inch punch, and if you wanted to make that look really nice in the middle, you could glue that right down in the middle. And I might do that. I haven't decided yet, so we'll keep that just in case. Let me go ahead and put my top back on my glue and put my pen back in, cleaning everything up. Okay, and here is our card and our door, and we are going to hang this just like that on our front door, and I think it looks beautiful. Now we are going to put a bow on it, and if you have difficulty tying bows, I'm going to show you a trick. But if you don't want to do that, you're in a hurry, I picked these little bows up at Dollar Tree, and I thought they were just so cute, and I wasn't even thinking about this card when I got these, but this would be a really quick and easy way to put a bow down on your wreath, and it is adorable. So I'm going to pull one of these off. These are actually on, let's see, these are actually twisted on the back with these little twist ties. So I have not taken any of these off, so I'm not sure how they work. Okay, there we go. Okay, we could very easily just make sure this is tied. We could clip that off just like that, or just double it back behind itself. And we could hang that bow right there. Now that bow adds so much to that wreath, to the door. And now I said that we were going to do a mail slot. So let me find some gold paper and some type of little punch or die that I want to use for a gold mail slot. And we're also going to do an envelope. So let me grab my supplies for that, and we'll be back. Alrighty, we are back, and I did find this little gold strip, and I am going to use a punch. This is an old Stampin' Up punch. Now, I did not buy this from Stampin' Up. I was looking for this little label punch, and I think I got this off of eBay sometime back. And I love this punch because it can give you the cutest little label, and I'm gonna, even though it's a label, we're gonna turn it into a mail slot, and I'll show you how in just a minute. I want to make sure that's over just like that. As you can see, it still punches really, really well. So what I want to do here is I want to cut a little slit in that, and I want to put some brads on each side of it. So let me get my little brads out again, decide which ones we're going to use, or I may, maybe I'll just use a little gem. I did find some little red gemstones, and I haven't stuck them down yet. I just kind of laid them in my wreath, and I have these little red ones like that, and they're flat on the back. I got these, I think at Joann's way back when. I mean, I've had these so long, but look at all the different colors that came. There's red and pink and purple. There's a gray and a silver, a black. There's a loose one in there. That's a silver one, or a rhinestone one. There's green and just different shades of blue and gold and amber. They are just beautiful, and I love to use those whenever I have a project like this. And I thought they looked so cute on that wreath, so we will probably glue those down. But oh, I didn't get my brads out. That's what I came in here after. Okay, let's go back to these brads. And let's look at our mail slot on the card. And I think I want the mail slot to be right about there. Just about like that. Now, I'm going to go and stamp out an envelope, and I am going to use Tracey and Bill's stamp set from Manless Crafting. So let me grab that stamp set. And I'm having trouble finding that stamp set, so give me just a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, folks, but I was looking for this particular stamp set because I wanted an envelope, and this one has a little envelope on it. And I am going to pull this off. Now, I know you're probably saying, no, that's 2 envelopes. Yeah, it is, but we are going to cut them out. So let me grab a piece of scrap white paper. I think this little piece right here will work. We'll stamp that down right there. So I am going to just stamp this in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink because I want a nice crisp image. Just like that. And that is gorgeous. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to cut away the envelope in the back, and I just want the one in the front. So in order to do that, I am just going to grab my my scissors. Where are you? I'm looking for my cutter bees, and I know they are here. They were right in front of me. Isn't that always the case whenever we're looking for something and we're in a hurry? Now I am going to cut, and I want to cut just on the outside of that line because I want that to show. And what I'm cutting away the other envelope because we don't need that. I just want one piece of mail, and I want this piece right here. kind of had this in vision. And if you're interested in picking up this stamp set, you can get it, if you don't already have it, over at www.mindlesscrafting.com. And you will love these stamp sets because they are beautiful and they are they stamp out so well, and they're always easy to fussy cut. Now I'm going to kind of cover up that little heart. The reason I'm covering up the heart is I don't want the heart to show. So I'm going to use just a tiny bit of a white pen. I'm just going to go over that to just kind of camouflage it a little bit. And then I'm going to actually put down a red gemstone. But you know what? I think that might be an overkill. Let's bring our card back over, because we're going to cut this off at an angle. So I'll tell you what, we're just going to cut that away. I want it to look like it's hanging out of the mail slot at an angle, just like that. And it's going to be, let's see if we can, we're going to use our utility knife, and we are going to try our best to cut a nice straight line. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You know how I told you you can always get a straight line using your utility knife or your pen blade with your scoreboard. So I'm going to lay my scoreboard down, and I am going to put this right where I want it, just like that. And I'm going to hold it right there with my thumb, and I just want it right there in the middle. So let me grab my trusty little blade, and I'm going to come right here and cut that little mail slot just like that. You know, what I wanted is just enough that we can slide that envelope up in there so that it will look like it's hanging out of the mail slot. So let's see if we can get this in here. Just like that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted it to look like. But before I go any further, I'm going to take a light blue Tombow marker, and I just want to go over where the address and the return address was, just with a little bit of color, just to give this a little dimension. You notice I'm not even taking it out of the mail slot. I'm just going to do it right here in it. Just like that. That gives just that little teeny pop of color can make a difference. So now let's bring this back over. I do want to glue this. So I am going to take some art glitter glue, and I'm going to put some right on this. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to take and put a line of glue right there. And I will also use that to put this on our door. And I decided against the brads. I think this is going to be fine on the door as a mail slot, and I'm bringing it down a little bit. I want that mail slot to be down just a little bit like that. And that looks so, so cute. Okay, so now let's bring our wreath back. And we've got all of these little gemstones that I'm not sure if we're going to use them or not, but let's see. Let's go ahead and get some of these glued down, and in order to do that, I just took them all off. I'm going to push them all over here, and I'm going to decide what I want the top of my wreath to be, and that's going to be about right there. That's going to be the top, so I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down, and I think I'm going to use one of these little dots to put that down with, because I need something just a little sticky to live behind that. And these little dots are like this. They're very, very, very sticky. You see that? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of smush that down into the back of that bow, right on top of that little tie. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere my bow. The reason I want my bow down because I want to work around the bow. So we know the bow is going to be right there. So I am going to get my little jewel picker. This is just going to help me to place my my little pieces around. So I'm going to grab my art glitter glue. Oops, I dropped one. I'll find sequins all over my desk after this because I'm sure they are everywhere. Let's straighten this back up so we don't look there. I think that's better. Alrighty, so I am just going to willy-nilly put drops of glue, pick up one of these and set it in it. Just like that. A drop of glue and a gem. And I think y'all get the gist of what I'm doing here, so I'm going to put the rest of these down and we'll be right back. Alright, I'm back and I've gotten all of my gemstones adhered to my wreath. So I'm very, very carefully going to pick it up because I did get glue onto my work surface and I don't want this to stick. I want to set this over to the side for a minute. We're going to go ahead and work on the inside of our card and before we actually hang our wreath on our door. But the wreath is going to hang right about there. And then this is going to be glued down to the front of our card base. And I think that card is gorgeous. I think it screams Merry Christmas. And I'm going to take this off, and what I want to do is go ahead and we're going to work on the inside of our card. And I think what I want to do is maybe mat it in that the same craft. And let me find a piece of that. And that is going to be, this right here is the Coordination Premium Cardstock. And I actually was very fortunate to pick up a pack of this at Tuesday morning. Believe it or not, my husband was the one that found it. So I'm going to cut a mat to fit inside of here. So we know this is a 5x7 card. So I'm going to do it 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So let's get out our trimmer. I don't want to mess my wreath up, so let's see, we're going to go 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then we're going to need a white piece as well, and our white cardstock needs to be 1/4 inch less, so we're going to go to 4 1/2. By 6 1/2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mat this white piece to this craft color. And I want this to be nice and even because this is going to live on the inside of our card, and I thought I'd bring that craft in as a mat because I think this will really tie the whole card together with the door being the same color. So I'm going to set that down. I'm trying to decide, do I want to ink? I don't think I want to. I think I want to just put this down because I want a very pretty sentiment to be on the inside of this. And I think what I'm going to use is I have some stamp sets over here, and I think the Holly and Heels has that beautiful Merry Christmas, and I think this is the one that I want to go Merry Christmas and Best Wishes. I think this is what I want on the inside. Merry Christmas and best wishes. And what I think I'm going to do to make sure that I don't mess this piece of cardstock up, I'm going to pull my Misty out, and I'm going to put it in my Misty. Let's see if this piece will fit in the mini. If it will, we'll use it, and if not, we'll grab the bigger one. Nope, not quite. And if you are thinking of buying a Misty, and you can afford the bigger one, I would say buy the big one first and then the small one if you want to add to that later, because this one will be much more versatile. It will be much easier for you to use it. You'll get a lot more use out of it because you can fit a larger piece of paper into this one. So just a little FYI, for anybody that's thinking about purchasing a Misty. So alright, we're just going to stick that there. And I'm going to come in and just put a couple magnets here and there just to kind of hold my paper in place. And then I want to look and see, is that where I want that to live? I think I want this to come down. Maybe just a little bit. And on this particular stamp set, I'm lining up the word Merry because that one's straight. This one's very swirly, so I'm trying to make sure that I've got the Merry, and that looks really good. So I think I'm going to go with that. Now make sure if you are using a Misty that you reposition that paper if your stamp set causes it to lift like that did. And the reason I did that, I've used that Merry Christmas before, but I have not used and best wishes. So I am going to condition that just a little bit by rubbing my fingers over it. And like I said, the oil out of your skin will definitely condition your stamps. And I'm just giving that a good press. Oh, and that stamp's so pretty on the first try. So that is wonderful. So I'm glad we got that done. So once I get my sentiment in my card, I feel like that my card is just about done. I don't know if y'all feel that way, but for me, this is like I'm on the home stretch now. I do want to do a little something around the edge of this card, and I haven't really fully decided what that is going to be, but I'm thinking I want something festive but not real cutesy. I've got a stamp set that has the poinsettia. Let's see. I don't know if I want that, or let's see what we want. I definitely want something on the edges of this card, and I'm not sure exactly what I want. When I was at the Dollar Tree, and I hadn't been in a while, and I did get out over the weekend, and I got the cutest little snowflakes. And remember I told y'all when we made the little jar that I had accidentally used the snowflakes that I had cut on my die machine? Well, just for your information, you can actually pick these up at the Dollar Tree, yes, for $1, and it is a full pack of little snowflakes. And look how cute these are. And we could put a couple of little snowflakes in here. And I think them snowflakes need something in the middle, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down just a couple, maybe 3. I like 3s, so let's do 3 of them. And then we're going to grab those little gems like we put on the wreath. And let's see, maybe one right there. So I'm going to close those back up and stick them back in my little croissant box. And we're going to glue these down. I still want to leave room enough for our sentiment, but I really do like the way these are on here. They do have little adhesives on them. I'm not sure how good these are going to hold. Well, they feel pretty sticky. Let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and still put my art glitter glue on it because I just don't. Sometimes, I'm not saying that the Dollar Tree is a bad place to shop, because I do shop there, but when it comes to sticking things down using something from the Dollar Tree, I usually rule on the side of caution, and I actually add a little glue myself, because the adhesives aren't always the best in the world. But these were super, super, super cute for $1. And when I saw them, I thought, aha, I can tell all my crafty friends that they can get these at the Dollar Tree for $1. Now, I don't know if your Dollar Tree has them. You can always go online and see if you can find them at dollartree.com. It's just a great way to get some really cute items fairly cheap. And I won't say everything at the Dollar Tree is a good buy, but I shop around. I compare the price of what I'm getting. So I'm trying to decide, do I want I think I'm going to use the same color, that red. Let's see, what did I do with my red? Did I leave them out? See the pink? Maybe I left them out. The question is, with the mess I have on my desk right now, where did I put them? We can always go with a different color, but let's see. I do like the blue. Oh, here's the red. Never mind, they were in here. I was just overlooking them. Okay, so we need 3 of these. Oops, one too many. These things will last forever because you've got so many colors. I can't remember how much I paid for these, but like I said, I got them at Joann's, and it has been ages ago. But they are so cute, and so many different colors, so many different things you can use them for. But I think one of these would look so cute right in the middle of our snowflake, and it will kind of tie our card together. That's another thing that makes your card look polished and complete, is that's coordinating. So I've got those on there. I'm going to set these back over here. And I'm going to get my little jewel picker again. And I'm going to pick these up one at a time using my art glitter glue. And I'm just going to put a little dot and then stick that down right in the middle. I am being careful not to get too much glue on these because I want them to stick, but I don't want it to be, you know, like a clump of glue around them. So, I mean, it'd be okay because your art glitter glue is going to dry clear. This one does not want to leave the, there we go. As soon as that art glitter glue got a little bit tacky, it decided it would stay there, so that's a good thing. Okay, so now the inside of our card is done. So I'm going to pull that out, and we're going to lay it over here. And I'm going to get my magnets and everything up that I took out of my MISTI. Now let's bring our card back over. And I think for this one, I am going to just use a little bit of my ATG. And I'm going to do this. And this, a little bit across there, And I am very carefully going to place this in the middle of this. That looks good. Now we got to do the same thing for this one. Now this one I am going to put down with the art glitter glue because of my little pretties on here. But that's going to be like that. And then we're going to adhere this just like that. That is a gorgeous card. It is going to be so pretty. But let's use our art glitter glue and go ahead and get the inside. I always try to make sure that I get my edges. Then I'll just come back and do a little zigzag motion and get that in there like that. Now let's move everything out so we can center this right over top of this. There we go. Now the inside of our card is done. I'm going to bring this one over flat, and before I put that on, because I want to be able to press down, I am going to go ahead and center my door. I'm going to also put this down with some art glitter glue, and I'm not putting any more dimensions on it because you've already got all of that dimension on the outside, and we're going to have that wreath hanging. So this is going to be a very thick but yet very lovely card, or at least I think it's come together really well. So let's get this centered. Just like that. And now we're going to hang our wreath. And in order to hang our wreath, I'm going to put glue right here and right here. And I'm going to put a little bit around on the branches because I want those back branches to stick so it doesn't move. And then I'm just going to center it between those two door pieces, and I'm going to hold and press. And there you have it. There is our beautiful Christmas card with our wreath. Probably a little Christmas card right there in that envelope. And when we open it up, we have our beautiful Merry Christmas and Best Wishes, and plenty of room to sign. We've got the snowflakes on the inside, coordinating with the red and the little gemstones that we put on the wreath. I think this card came together beautifully. It was a labor of love. If anyone is interested in a card kit for this, if you would shoot me an email and let me know that you would like to purchase the card kit. This will be a $7 card. The materials in this one is not as elaborate as it was in the two previous cards that I did, and I will send you the link where you can go and actually purchase this card on my website. And once you purchase it, you will receive the card base, the mats for the inside with the sentiment stamped. You will receive the snowflakes along with the gems, and you will also receive the pieces to put the wreath together, the little circle, the gems, the pieces for the wreath, the bow, the envelope, the mail slot, the brad for the handle, all of the components for the door, and I will even I will distress them around the edges for you. So when you get your card kit, all you'll have to do is sit down and put it together. So I do that so that if anybody wants to make this card but they do not have the supplies, I wanted to make it possible where you could make it. So there's our Christmas card, and I believe this is number 6 in our series, or I believe it's 6. I believe this is number 6. So if you're interested, it's going to be, this card will be called the front door wreath Christmas card. And if you're interested, please let me know, or you can even just go to my store and order it. Thank you so much, everyone. Y'all have a very blessed day, and Merry Christmas. It's coming fast. We're only a few days from Halloween, and after that it's on for Thanksgiving, and from this time of the year to the first of the year goes so fast because we are so busy during that time. But anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for your love, your support, for always tuning in. If you are watching this and you have not subscribed to my channel, please go down and hit that subscribe button. Ring that little bell, and that way you'll get notifications every time that I put up a video. It won't bug you. It'll be a one-time notification. You can dismiss it if you don't want to watch the video then. You can always come back and watch at your discretion. But give me a like, a thumbs up, and share this video with your friends. Share it on your social media pages. That helps me to grow my channel, and growing my channel, I can bring you better content. So thank you again so much for tuning in. Thank you for your love and support. Leave me a comment. God bless you. And as I always say when I'm leaving you, be a blessing to someone. Encourage someone today. Tell them how much they mean to you. If you know of someone that's in distress, if they're in pain, if they're hurting, if they're just sick, take the time to make them a card. Send them a card and let them know that you're thinking about them, you're praying for them, and be an encouragement. And as I always say, give glory to our Lord and Savior. He is so worthy. Let everything you do and say bring glory to Him. And until we craft again, God bless. Bye-bye.